We get people who come to our kelp forest exhibit and they want to see a humpback whale because they saw it in Star Trek IV. But our kelp forest exhibit just behind me is only 28 feet deep, and if you put a 45-foot long whale, even standing up on its tail, the top of the water would probably only reach its belly button or chin. In the wild, we have probably over 80 species of cetaceans, and I should just explain that cetaceans are all of the whales, the dolphins, and the porpoises. And what's funny is the word cetacean comes from the Greek word kytos, which actually means sea monster. Blue whales, I think most people know, are the greatest whale on Earth. Not only that, they're the biggest animal ever to have lived on Earth. Some of the biggest blue whales were about 100 feet long. Nowadays, they're over 90 feet, but they don't get as big as 100 feet long, but they're truly magnificent. One of the things that we can identify with cetaceans, some species of cetaceans, is that the calves stay with the mother for a long period of time, just like human children take a long time to grow up. Not all that they need to know for life is born into them, is instinctive. They do need to learn an awful lot at their mother's side and within the group of whales that they're with. One thing I find that people are always asking us about is, well, how intelligent are cetaceans, dolphins, and whales? And the way that we understand language is something that has a syntax, and we haven't yet decoded any cetacean language, but it does seem obvious that they are using sound to communicate with one another. There are a number of scientists that are working on cetacean communication, trying to understand a little bit more about it. Some of the most groundbreaking work is on the killer whale population. It started up in the Pacific Northwest, and they found that the different pods of killer whales have different dialects, and it seems to have evolved because those groups are staying together for long periods of time. Also, sperm whales seem to use a lot of sound, both for echolocation and also for communication. A scientist named Hal Whitehead has found that there are different dialects of sperm whales in different parts of the Pacific Ocean, in the Indian Ocean, around the world. Again, like the killer whales, probably because they're in different family groups for long periods of time and the sounds drift into different dialects. But like I said, as far as we know, we don't know that it's necessarily a language. We don't know that those calls might not be something much more simple. We're used to communicating with language. We're used to having another human being tell us what they think or what they feel. And we can't do that with whales. But what we can do is something that we already do with each other, and more importantly, we do it with the animals within our homes, our dogs and our cats. We can't talk to a dog or a cat, and yet we know to a certain extent what they want because of body language and emotion and mood. So there are a lot of people that are out there with cetaceans, and they're getting a feeling for what the cetaceans are doing, whether they're sleeping or resting or feeding. So there is an awful lot of reading that we're doing of them, and I can't tell you what they're reading from us and our particular behavior, except that if we're killing them, they aren't happy with that, I can tell you that. And if they're getting scrubbed, if it's like a gray whale in the calving lagoons and it's getting scrubbed, they're probably reading pretty good vibes from the people at that point. I think one of the greatest success stories of what we can do if we really care about the environment and we really protect animals with all that we have is the gray whales along the west coast of North America. And they were pretty close to extinction around the turn of the century, and they were protected by laws, and their calving lagoons were protected by law. And bit by bit, they built back up in numbers, and it's one of the greatest success stories of this last century. We now think that they're close to the numbers they were before whaling days. This is the only planet that we know that has forests and the great, great trees of the old ancient redwood forest. We're the only ones with life filling the oceans, with fresh water that's clear, good to drink, and air that's clean and smells wonderful. Where else are you going to find that in the universe? And the more species that are preserved intact in a functioning ecosystem, the more wonderful this cathedral of life is on this planet.